Thank you guys for requesting Oppenheimer.
Yes.
All three of us are blind to this. I did hear this is historically accurate. A lot of people are saying great things about it. This is by Christopher Nolan.
Oh, okay.
Yay.
We've seen quite a few films of his. We saw like Interstellar, Inception, The Dark Knight trilogy.
Yes.
All very good movies. And he's done a bunch of other things too that we haven't seen, which we do get requests for now and again. So hopefully we'll get more of those so we can see even more of his movies.
That's right, yeah.
So we do know the Oppenheimer history, the story behind him.
That's right.
And I can't wait to get into this.
Me too.
So shall we talk
Absolutely.
about this afterwards? We'll get right into it now?
Definitely.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. For this, he was changed to a rock and tortured for eternity. I got the audio.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, is that Robert Downey?
It's Robert Downey Jr. Isn't that crazy?
He looks so...
Oh, it is
Yeah.
him. Oh, nice. Got that.
Didn't catch her.
Oh, wow.
As chairman, I wasn't allowed to be. Are they really going to ask about it?
I want to justify their whole life.
Jeez.
Christ, Oppenheimer. Have you had any sleep?
Hey, it's Jarvis. Cyanide.
Holy crap.
Oh.
He's gonna
And the
gonna
apple?
poison the apple. No way.
Wow.
That's messed up. I mean, I get you were wronged, but that's not right.
Yeah, it is a...
That's outright murder.
Oh.
Wow.
It's gone.
Oh.
Oh, it's still there.
J. Robert Oppenheimer.
Oh, no.
What's the J stand for? Get to Germany, study under Max Born, learn the ways of theory.
Okay, he's giving him all this
No,
advice.
no, no.
Ah!
How's your mathematics?
Thank God.
Not even phased by it.
I didn't say why did you do it.
It's good, okay? Wow. Hopefully that's it.
Can you hear it?
He's trying to get it on.
I know, can you imagine, like,
that?
such talent to have a mind like that?
Wow.
Einstein published his theory
Oh, cool.
of relativity more than 40 years ago now. Never embraced the quantum world it revealed.
Good to see Einstein.
Precisely. Never thought of studying physics formally, Mr. Strauss.
What it offers, but I chose to sell shoes.
Louis Strauss was once a lowly shoe salesman.
No, just a shoe salesman.
Not lovely.
Albert,
Oh.
what was that? What did you say to him?
Oh, he's fine.
Oh.
Wir Bolsingtusen en alfadilchen en
Eh, he's speaking Dutch.
Verschiedene Energie der Verbindungsopname in der relative Transparenz. What's he saying?
Oh, he did it. Oh, wow. That's awesome. Yeah.
But I put on her when I got here this semester.
Wow.
In 6 weeks to get a lecture on quantum mechanics.
Wow.
Oh, jeez.
Physics wasn't challenging enough. Schwitzer. Schwitzer. Show off. Dutch in 6 weeks, but you never learn Yiddish.
You don't speak it so much my side of the park.
Screw you.
Oh,
Heisenberg, right?
Heisenberg. Automatically, I think Walter White.
that's right. Oh, my God.
You have like this beautiful music when he starts to talk about quantum mechanics.
A star.
It's all coming together.
Artistic.
Burning in outer space, fire pushing outwards against its own gravity. Balanced. But if that furnace cools, and gravity starts winning, it contracts.
Density increases.
Correct. Increasing gravity.
Increasing density.
And
It's a vicious cycle until... What's the limit here?
I don't know. See where the math takes us. I guarantee it's somewhere no one's been before.
Me?
yes, your math is better than mine.
Jeez.
Or finds one, but right now all I have is theory, which can't impact people's lives.
Well, if you're going to send money to Spain, do it through the Communist Party. They can get it to the front lines.
Very simple, please. MJ.
Black Widow. Oh, yeah, it's Elena. This is what scientists do.
You're happy. I'm happy. I'm happy. You're happy that I'm happy. I have to make an appointment.
Oh,
Alvarez?
oh, she's the cop.
Look. These fission pulses, they're massive. I've seen 30 of these in the past 10 minutes.
Theory will take you only so far.
Got to experiment.
The process. Extra neutrons boil off, which could be used to split other uranium atoms.
Chain reaction. You're thinking what I'm thinking.
You, me, every other physicist around the world who's seen use.
What are we all thinking?
Bomb. Alvarez.
It's terrifying.
I told you, Robert, no more fucking flowers.
Jeez.
She can't. There's no trail.
I don't want anything from you.
You say that and then you call.
Well, don't answer.
I'll always answer.
Aw. Is that Papa?
Yeah.
Stranger Things.
During the Battle of Britain, I found myself increasingly out of sympathy with the policy of neutrality that communists advocated.
But after Hitler invaded Russia and we became allies, these communist sympathies, do they return?
No.
I have graduated to housewife.
We loved her in Quiet Place.
Seems baffling.
Yes, it is. I meant with your husband.
Yes, you did. Because you know it won't make a bit of difference.
Why did you marry him?
I was lost and he was kind. Himself killed first time he popped his head out of the trench.
That sucks.
Ideology got Joe killed for nothing.
Spanish Republic is nothing.
My husband offered both our futures to stop one fascist bullet from embedding itself in a mud bank. That's the definition of nothing.
Seems a little reductive.
Pragmatic. Now here I am. Who the hell this is?
Yeah. That's gorgeous too. Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't want you to hear it from anyone else.
At least you didn't bring me flowers.
Wow.
Brilliance makes up for a lot.
Don't alienate the only people in the world that understand what you do. One day you might need them.
The next time you're coming home from a meeting, why don't you take a look in the rearview mirror? Listen to the sounds on your phone line and stop being so goddamn naive.
They're
Why
following
would I
you.
care what I do? Because you're not just self-important, you're actually important. Yeah, instant.
But how would Borden have access to Oppenheimer's security file?
Because somebody gave it to him. Somebody who wanted Robert silenced. Who knows? Robert didn't take care not to upset the power brokers in Washington. His opinions on the atom became definitive, and he wasn't always patient with us mere mortals.
Mere mortals.
I'm in.
Let's celebrate.
She's drunk.
Is she drunk?
Yeah, she is.
Whoa.
I have been going to him all fucking day.
Oh man, that sucks.
Had enough.
Robert, you see beyond the world we live in. There is a price to be paid for that. Of course, we'll help you.
Wow. Good friends.
Very
Holy cow.
understanding.
That's so tough to see it in this perspective.
Dr. Oppenheimer.
Ah, I
Oh
do
my
this.
God.
Colonel Nichols, have that dry cleaned.
Oh.
Oh,
Oh god, that's embarrassing.
Well, if that's how you treat Lieutenant Colonel, I'd hate to see how you treat a humble sister.
good for you for saying that.
Oh,
Theaters of combat all over the world, but I have to stay in Washington.
You're talking about turning theory into a practical weapon system faster than the Nazis.
Who have a 12-month head start. 18. How could you possibly know that?
Our fast neutron research took 6 months. The man they've undoubtedly put in charge will have made that leap instantly.
Who do you think they put in charge? Werner Heisenberg. He has the most
Yep.
Intuitive understanding of atomic structure I have ever seen.
You know his work.
I know him, just like I know
Walter Bolton, von Weizsäcker, and Diebner. In a straight race, the Germans win. I'm starting to see where you got your reputation. My favorite response. Oppenheimer couldn't run a hamburger stand. They couldn't.
but I can run the Manhattan Project.
Very different.
There's a way to balance these things.
Get the best. You want security, build a town, build it fast.
Oh, build a town.
Yes, wow.
A town fast.
Wow. Just like that.
Yes.
Woo.
Oh, hey.
I told you you could bring your family.
I'm not a soldier, Oppie. A soldier.
As a general, I've got all the soldier I need. What can I tell them?
Heisenberg and Diebner, both of war. What do these men have in common? The greatest minds on atomic theory.
Yes, and?
Ah!
Jack.
Great.
Why would you think I'd do that?
Why? Why? How about because this is the most important
Fucking thing to ever happen in the history of the world. How about that?
So he put it in plain terms.
Yeah.
They're not going to let me onto this project.
It falls on the just and the unjust.
I don't wish the culmination of 3 centuries of physics to be a weapon of mass destruction.
I know, just a thought.
That's right.
Sickening.
The second thing you have to do is appoint Hans Betta to run the theory.
Great. So maybe he'll stay.
Wait. What was the first?
Take off that ridiculous uniform. You're a scientist.
Groves is insisting we join.
Tell Groves to go shit in his hat.
So be yourself.
Only better.
All right.
So, yeah.
There you go. His famous hat.
Famous hat. Yes.
There it is.
To Einstein, there's not much common ground between you two. It's a
Yeah.
criticality, point of no return, massive explosive force.
But this time, the chain reaction doesn't stop. It would ignite the atmosphere.
When we detonate an atomic device, we might start a chain reaction that destroys the world.
Wow.
Oh, boy.
Lost in your quantum world of probabilities and needing certainty. Share your findings with the Nazis. So neither side destroys the world.
Can you imagine that? Like,
Yes.
is that
This is
destructive?
yours, not mine.
What a risk.
We missed him. You want to adopt?
She's kidding.
Oh, I don't know.
Would be treason.
Yes, of course. I just thought you should know.
I'm feeling them out.
Brat is down. Where's
The
Martinez?
brat is down.
I know. Oh. The brat.
This is so crazy a town.
Makes sense to make it for families to stay there.
Instead of uranium or plutonium, we use hydrogen. Heavy hydrogen. Deuterium. You see? We compact the atoms together under great pressure to induce a fusion reaction. Then we'll get not kilotons, but megatons. Hang on. So how do you generate enough force to fuse hydrogen atoms? A small fission pool. Data indicates it may have been a plutonium implosion device.
Like the one you built at Los Alamos. Russia's ever
Sus.
bombed. Truman needs to know what's next.
What's next? Arms talks. Obviously.
Because if it can put us ahead again, the President of the United States needs to know about
Yeah.
Timo, I quit. Thanks for nothing.
Better off without him. Aren't you more concerned about his discretion out there? We'll have him killed.
Oh,
Right. Oh,
I was just kidding.
that was a bad joke.
that was a bad.
It's me, not America. You know, General, not everyone has levers to pull like mine. I don't think I understand. Under current AEC guidelines, would you clear Dr. Oppenheimer today? It's been another screw-up. Lawrence just got drafted. We are at war, Doctor.
Oh, see?
We need this kid. Fix it, will you?
It wasn't a mistake. Your friend Lomanitz has been trying to unionize the radiation lab.
Promised to quit all that. Well, he hasn't.
She told you no
Yeah,
foolishness.
yeah, I said that. Yeah.
That you had to see Jean Tadlock in 1943.
I love the
She was
music.
undergoing psychiatric treatment. She was extremely unhappy. Did you find out why she had to see you?
Whoa, he feels
That's why.
exposed.
She was still in love with me. Did you think that
That's-
consistent with insecurity?
That's really hard.
In fact, it was. Not a word. When did you see her after that?
Oh, crap. Oh, crap.
Saw her again.
Oh, my God. She probably killed
She
herself.
killed her. She killed herself.
Responsibility, and it's like having a child who I can't see.
Fuck.
Yeah, it's Casey. Yeah.
Remote control. The man who gave them the power to destroy themselves. And they'll respect that.
Yeah, it's so scary.
Begins.
I'm sorry, Oppie, but there's a call. From San Francisco.
Oh boy.
I know he felt so guilty.
No, it was me.
You don't get to commit the sin, and then have us all feel sorry for you that it had consequences. You pull yourself together. People here depend on you.
Donald, would you like to contribute here, please?
I'm not quitting my job because plutonium.
Let him go.
He's a prima donna. I agree. He should leave with me.
Okay. Kirsty, you replace Edinburgh. Seth, I'm putting you on plutonium. Lily, you go in for Kirsty because he needs you. Fuchs, you take Teller's role. I'm putting you exclusively on the implosion device. And no one is leaving Los Alamos.
Okay, yeah. Smooth.
Arsenal.
Keep hearing that.
You drown in 10 feet of water or 10,000? What's the difference? We can already drown Russia. Now they all drown us.
Stomping.
At the AEC. That's very serious
He
accusations.
seems so suspicious.
Is it your intention to suggest that Dr. Oppenheimer is disloyal to the United States? I've always assumed, and still assume, that he's loyal to the United States. I believe this, and I shall believe it until I see very conclusive proof to the opposite. Birth control is a little out of my jurisdiction, General.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Head down. Okay. Everybody ready?
No, put your head down.
Oh my gosh. Right there.
I hope you learned something.
If we learn we're gonna need to be a lot farther away.
Figure it out
If we announce it and it fails to go off, we'd scupper any chance of a Japanese surrender.
Is there no way to demonstrate a bomb to Japan to provoke surrender?
We intend to demonstrate it in the most unambiguous terms. Twice.
Once to show the weapon's power, and a second to show that we can keep doing this until they surrender. We have a list of 12 cities to choose from.
Jeez, can you imagine doing this?
Yeah.
I've taken Kyoto off the list due to its cultural significance to the Japanese people. Also, my wife and I honeymooned there. It's a magnificent city.
I was just disappointed.
Totally.
to
His
Make this
choose.
simple for you, gentlemen. According to my intelligence, which I cannot share with you, the Japanese people will not surrender under any circumstances, short of a successful and total invasion of the home islands. Many lives will be lost, American and Japanese. The use of the atomic bomb on Japanese cities will save lives.
Jeez, can you imagine?
Be fine.
Everybody out.
Yeah, no, wrong moves.
Bam.
Go on the night of the 15th.
We need the weather to be fine.
Fire these detonators and they don't trigger a reaction. 2 years worth of plutonium will be scattered across White Sands.
A month of my salary against Templars. Says it nice.
That's it. It comes after a gamble.
He just knows his stuff. He knows his area.
He said it before too.
Not your forecast. If you're wrong, I'll hang you. 5:30.
Yeah, near zero.
Oh boy.
How remote? Chances are near zero. Near zero.
How near?
Zero would be nice.
Stops the UV.
Good stuff.
Exactly. Yeah, because I have to shutter.
Best of luck.
My God.
Music.
I know. It's so intense. What's he gonna do?
Oh, where's he going? He's going outside?
Put your glasses on.
He has to see it naturally.
Oh my
No,
God.
he's gonna.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, I can't believe he went out there.
Holy crap. Incredible and so sad.
And now I have become death,
Here's a shockwave.
the destroyer of worlds.
There it is. Jeez. Wow.
Right through him.
Mixed feelings, huh? I want to applaud. He's such a genius.
Will you keep me informed? Of course. As best I can.
Yes, I can. Now it's
Yeah.
not his thing
Thanks
anymore.
for doing it. But it's ours now.
The bomb has more power.
Yeah, she's always been very supportive of him.
Yeah.
World will remember this day.
Oh,
Yeah.
he's hearing what happened.
Yeah, the ramifications of what happened. He's got to get out of there.
There's consequences.
I'm so proud.
Oh, man.
Oh, God, he's
Yeah,
seeing
that's it.
the reality.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
Oh, my body.
Of course.
And you helped save a lot of American lives.
Yeah, it's Gary Oldman. I was like, wait a second.
Okay.
It's that now is our chance to secure international cooperation on
Yeah, that's naive to say that.
Abundance? Yes.
I don't think so.
I feel that I have blood on my hands.
AK, who dropped it? I did. Your receiver isn't about you. Don't let that crybaby back in here.
Wow.
I didn't know Truman was like that.
Robert saw that hand-wringing got
Shallow.
him nowhere. Hey, boy, don't gloat.
Have fun.
My son and his fiancée are desperate to meet the father of the atomic bomb, so...
Oh. Whoa.
A lowly shoe salesman.
Oh, he's using the same
We
words.
can win this thing.
Yeah, he's so offended.
The Senate to grasp that you
Maybe he did it.
Will Hill's testimony back us up?
Hill will be fine.
I don't really know him, but he was one of Seward's boys in Chicago.
What was it you said about Borden? Were you caught holding the knife yourself?
Oh.
He did it. He gave him those
Didn't you say
documents.
Borden was holding the knife for you?
Yeah, right?
It's
Iron
gonna
Man.
come down to how much influence Borden's been able to exert on Teller. Did I say something funny?
Just Borden, when we all know that it's straws.
Yeah, she was on it. Like, she gets it the whole time.
And then you're humiliated in front of Congress.
But more useful than a sandwich.
That's right.
Yeah, he
Lowly
was always
shoe salesman.
insulted.
Got it.
Einstein, too. Like, he was so obsessed with that.
That was 6 years ago.
You know, they're truly vindictive. Patient as saints.
Strauss has been perfectly clear that he is neutral.
Wait!
Oh my
Up.
God.
It is Strauss. It's always been Strauss, and you know it. Why won't you fight him?
And that's where we
And that's what
were.
they made it.
Wow.
A simple bureaucratic procedure is Q clearance. It's up for renewal. Well, the Great Board, Defense Council will not.
So unfair.
The defense counsel will not.
Privatory information in your indictment.
And that's legal?
No reporters. No burden of proof.
No burden of proof.
We're not convicted. Just denying.
Tainting it.
Wow, to be able to manipulate the laws and stuff like that to sabotage someone.
You said this is just how the game is played.
Forgive my naivete.
I think it's wrong.
Sure.
I think it's wrong. He's such a liar. He did all of this.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Nichols wants me to find him so I can get it all on the record. There was a recording of the interview.
You let my client sit here and potentially perjure himself, and all this time, you had a recording?
I told your client to misrepresent his former answer.
It was 12 years ago.
You and Ruth Dolman have been having an affair for years.
Oh, God.
Come on!
He convinced Lawrence that Richard died of a broken heart. That's absurd. What's the heart? Broken heart. Richard never found out.
I never found out. Jeez.
Missions of which he is spawned. Eat.
Yeah, he always makes me eat.
This poor guy is up against all these.
That's right, he is.
And they're really unfair. Yeah.
That's right.
Manipulating the rules so bad.
The purpose
He's
of
looking
this
around
letter
like,
is to state my opinion, based upon years of study of the available classified evidence, that more probably than not,
More
J.
probably
Robert
than not.
Oppenheimer is an agent of the Soviet Union.
Holy crap! It's all lies.
Oh,
One,
jeez.
between 1929 and 1942, more probably than not, J.
Oh
Robert
my
Oppenheimer was
God.
a sufficiently hardened communist that he volunteered information to the
come on.
Soviets.
Most of the scientists in this country would prefer to see Mr. Strauss completely out of government.
Whoa. What?
Hostility of certain scientists directed toward Mr. Strauss because of his commitment to security as demonstrated in the Oppenheimer affair?
No. Because of the personal vindictiveness he demonstrated against Dr. Oppenheimer.
It comes out.
Yes.
Oh, who told on him?
Oh.
Most scientists
me
Come
in
on.
this country.
Oh, yeah.
You're Dr. Oppenheimer in 1942. I
To
would
point that out.
Not clear him today if I were on the commission. Good. Thank you, General. That is all.
But he
I don't
clearly
think I'd
said,
clear any of those guys.
oh,
That's all.
No, you don't need any more information.
Don't you mean through?
Pardon?
I think you mean through Communist Party channels, don't you?
Yes.
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 Then would it be fair to say that this meant that by 1942 your husband had not stopped having anything to do with the Communist Party? You don't have to answer that yes or no. You can answer that any way you wish.
I know that, thank you. It's your question. It's not properly phrased.
Do you understand what I'm getting at?
I do.
Why don't you answer it
Because
then?
I don't like your phrase, having anything to do with the Communist Party, because Robert never had anything to do with the Communist Party as such. I know he gave money to Spanish refugees. I know he took an intellectual interest in communist ideas.
The two types of communists. Intellectual communists and your plain old regular commie.
Well, I couldn't answer that one.
I couldn't be.
Yeah. Oh, good for you. Yeah.
Yeah. That's it.
huh, he's loving it.
Goddamn thing. I certainly can't prove that I gave the file to Morton.
We're not in court, sir. There's no burden of proof.
Haha. For those words.
Just denying. Why would Hill come here to tear
From
me
medicine.
down with Siegel?
Do people need a reason to do the right thing? As
Oh.
he sees it.
Oh, see?
I would
Oppenheimer poisoned
walk out of there.
scientists against me right from that first meeting. I don't know.
Yeah, what do you say?
Said on that day, but by its time, even me, my eye. Oppenheimer knows how
He's so paranoid too, though. He always thinks it's about him.
loose. He preyed on the naivety of scientists. I was asked, well, then you would have built the
oh no, it's
Oh,
really,
look at that. Yeah, look at it. Back again.
alright,
Oh,
The fact that he has,
yeah.
he shouldn't be able to badger like that.
Come on.
the Russians do anything to increase their strength? If we did it, they would have to do it. Our efforts would only fuel their efforts just as it had with the atomic bomb. Just as it had with the atomic bomb, exactly.
Crap. He said exactly what
No
he
moral
wanted to hear.
scruples in 1945, plenty in 1949.
There were 3, led by the junior senator from Massachusetts. Young guy trying to make a name for himself, didn't like what you did to Oppenheimer.
What's his name?
Kennedy.
Yes.
That's fine. Maybe they should just invite Oppenheimer instead. Maybe they will.
Oh, look at.
Oh, right
Turn
there.
the scientists against me one by one.
See, he's so paranoid and
Yeah.
jealous.
Einstein by the pond.
He did, but you know, sir, since nobody really knows what they said to each other that day, it's impossible. They didn't talk about you at all.
I know, it's always
Well,
fun.
they spoke about something
Oh,
Yes,
yes.
got it.
so I am.
Have fun.
It won't be for you.
She's gonna, nope, she will not shake your hand.
Yeah. Here he comes.
Came to you with those calculations. I thought we might start a chain reaction that would destroy the entire world.
I remember it well. What happened?
I believe we did.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
though.
that's a scary
Politically.
thought.
Oh, boy.
Wow, yeah. That idea alone. Wow, what a
Oh,
movie!
that sure was.
Wonderful.
Wow.
For the rest of his life, that's what he has
Christopher
to think
Nolan.
That's right, it does.
Yeah,
It does.
that was a
Great
great
movie.
movie.
That was very good.
Wow, that was-
a lot of twists, huh?
Yeah, I mean,
Sure was.
What happened and how he was exposed, you know, trying to really expose him.
Shame on
You
that.
know,
3
and
hours
make him look
long.
So
Yeah. Oh,
bad.
that was well done.
yes.
I'm very impressed.
Yeah. It was. I mean, the acting in this. I mean, Robert Downey
terrific,
Jr.
yes,
was
it's really
amazing.
Wow. And he was like
my
the
God.
villain, you know? Like, what a twist at the end there.
Oh,
But
that was.
we saw that, you know, throughout, where he was a jealous, paranoid guy. Like, he wanted the glory, he wanted the power, and the fact that, you know, Oppenheimer could actually, like, you know, insult him and
He was
or
insulting him.
belittle
and-
him,
yeah.
but it was all like in not good fun, but like it wasn't like as awful as, you know, Strauss was taking it. But for him to undermine him, to actually go against him in such a cheating way.
Right,
it's
and even when
manipulating.
he insulted him when they were just by themselves about being, oh, you're a lowly shoe salesman. No, I'm a shoe salesman.
Yeah,
You know,
so that was the
hit
first
him.
one where we were
He
like,
held
okay.
his grudge.
Yeah.
Sure did,
You know,
yeah.
and then again with the isotopes, you know, he was like, okay, you hit me again. You're going down
Yes,
somehow.
yeah,
And to
definitely.
really have that jealousy and just keep it with you that long, like so have such a grudge against someone for that long, to actually screw them over. I mean, you brought him onto this project and he did a great job on what he was supposed to do. And then just to screw him over at the end just because of his own pride.
Right,
Like,
and to have
my
that
God,
counsel
like
just
that,
going
yes.
and badgering him.
Constantly.
Exactly, and then for his counsel to have nothing because
Yeah.
of, you know, security reasons, he can't have anything to, you know, go against. And for Rob just to keep going on him and going on. Why? Because Strauss hired him. He was on the council.
Yeah.
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 Because
I mean-
of Strauss. That's amazing.
It's absolutely incredible, and it's such a scary notion to think that this guy has just all these connections. Strauss has all these connections that he can manipulate things in such a way where it's still legal, but it's borderline. It's really not legal, but it is. Like, it's really wrong what he did. But he was able to screw over Oppenheimer and corner him and say, what were the words they were saying, like may or may not, possibly. Like, they were using all these like maybe terms that they were just accusing him of stuff that, you know, was not true. It was all not true.
right.
And yes, he did take risks. Like Oppenheimer, like he's such a smart individual, like beyond normal intelligent people. Like he's like way at the top with, you know, it's a rare thing. And he is very open-minded and he's curious about the world and learning about other people and stuff, but he was never a communist.
He wasn't,
He
and
did
even
take
when he
lessons
was
from
having that
social.
secret affair with Jean, I mean, going after, you know, years of not seeing her at all, and he still didn't want, he wanted to separate that.
Yeah.
He went to see
Good for
her.
him,
She
yeah.
asked for him. I thought there was going to be more there where she was going to really try to get something out of him, but no, it was just because she loved him that much.
Yeah,
Yes,
and
yeah,
she was
yeah.
very intelligent too. And from the start, when they were
They were
having,
really
Yeah.
great together.
they were like their minds were like they really had chemistry there.
yes, they
And
definitely-
the fact that she was having like sex with him, and then she brings out this book with this language that no one can read, and she's like, "Read this to me." Like, you know, I really thought that was going to lead to something where she was trying to get information out of him. You know, but it wasn't that.
No, it
Like,
wasn't.
was
It
just
was just
they were on the
yeah.
same level.
They
understood
were.
each other.
She knew how to get to him, and he
definitely,
really
yeah.
appreciated that.
Yeah. I really felt bad for her because, you know, she was so strong, but she had a lot of problems mentally, and she was unstable, and
Well, you know, she killed herself because she
she did.
couldn't be with him.
That's right.
He
yeah.
told her, "I can't come back to see
That's
you," and,
right.
and he
Yeah.
meant
That's
it,
what
and she
happened,
knew
yeah.
it, and she loved him so much, and she knew that, you know, okay, well,
and it was hard too because even he said he wanted more with her, and she didn't want flowers. She's like, "Why do you answer my calls?" Like, she was so conflicted with her own emotions. She never knew what she wanted. She did want him, but she didn't want him, you know? Like, so she was very confused in that. So he wanted to move on from that. And so when he met his wife, like, you know, he even says something to her when they first met, like, you know, she doesn't give enough, or he said it better, but
That's right,
you know, there was like no relationship there, and it wouldn't have worked anyways because she was a communist, and with what he's doing, like, that would look extremely bad.
right,
That's right,
and that's
that's right.
probably why, like, the flowers and stuff like that, she doesn't want, like, any paper. That's what I took it as, like, okay, you're getting flowers for your lover. Okay, this is
She
one
doesn't
more.
want like that kind of
Yeah.
recognition or any
Right.
kind of like, we're not in a relationship. And so I felt bad. I really felt bad for her that she killed herself. And one of the shots that they did, when we kind of assumed, we saw a lot of quick shots of the bathtub and the pillows or something, and then it went to a different scene, that she killed herself. And then when we heard about it, like, I don't know if it was in his own head or I just, like, misunderstood that, but it happened quick. So she killed herself, but there was one moment where it looked like there was a hand there.
Yes.
Right?
I
And was
saw
like,
that
wait,
too, and I
is there a
said,
gloved
"Is that
hand?"
his hand?
Yes,
Like, is
it's
his mental?"
You know, that's what
Mentally.
I was
Trying to
kind of
help
thinking.
Maybe
her.
I
That was
helped
well
her.
done,
It
too.
was my
say that.
it was my hand doing this to her.
Yeah.
That's what I took it as too. It's like a dark.
Yeah, because I was like,
shadow.
did I actually
Yes.
see that? But it was so quick and subtle. I love
Right.
that detail. I
And
was
then
like,
when
holy
it came
crap.
back to her really doing it, I'm like, okay, it was just his thought of him helping her do this. Because of him, she's doing this.
Yeah, and that's why he wanted to go see her too, because he was so desperate, because he felt so much guilt because he does care for her, that he's like, she's going to kill herself if I don't go there. Like, she always, like, doesn't want something with me, like, doesn't want a relationship, but she does want to be with me. And when, you know, and she's like, oh, well, when you call me, like, you always come. You always said you were going to come. And then she was, like, desperate and confused once he was like, well, no, I can't do that anymore. So he felt really guilty about that. He knew once he left that that was going to be it. And yeah, that really weighed hard on him. And Kitty, his wife, like, she really understood him so much. And even though they had their issues, like major issues.
She had a lot of drinking going on.
Yeah, she had a lot of...
She did, you know,
and with
she's
the
a
kids,
biologist,
children.
and she
Yes.
had to put all that aside.
That's right.
Yeah,
be
she
Oppenheimer's
you
wife,
know, sacrificed a lot of stuff too. And so, you know, she's extremely smart too. She understands her husband very well. Jean understood him too, but they're all like really high intelligent minds. And not that everyone's like this, but they're just wired differently. They work differently. And she really understood him, even with all their problems. Like, to be domesticated, they're not like that. Like, they tried, but she was not meant to be a mother.
No,
like,
you can tell that.
Yeah, it was really hard for her
And
at the beginning.
That
It
was
was sad. It was
feel
very
I
sad.
feel bad for her. I feel totally, you know, bad for the
Children,
kids.
yeah.
But, you know, she didn't, you know, she had a lot of conflicts with that.
Definitely.
Yeah.
No.
So it was awful to see that, but like, she understood herself though, because even though she was struggling with it, like, she got like why she was
she
like
was
that.
making fun of herself with
That's
you know
right, yeah.
Cavalier or whatever his name was.
Yeah.
You know, with the friends that took the boy, their son. So I mean, she was making fun of herself. You're like, oh, get this brat out of here or whatever.
Yeah, I know, always saying that, and like,
Yeah.
we want to adopt, and
Yeah.
and then talking to Robert, you know, she was like, you and I, or like, we're just, or she kept really saying him, but she was very supportive of his mind, and like, you know, we're just different in that way. And you know, I can't remember her words now, but like, she was pretty much telling him that, you know, we're not really meant to be parents. Like, you're meant to focus on your work. You're meant for great things. And so he really tried to. He struggled a lot, but he wanted to be a dad, and you could tell like he was like.
He was caring, but you know, he did what he was supposed to.
Yeah, he was removed from
minimally.
that.
And also, I took it as I thought she was going to leave him and, you know, just leave him and have him just focus on his work and just have, you know, just really just leave him.
Yeah.
And not be there at all. But no, she was just really saying that, you know, you have to continue on with your work. It's very important. And she stayed with him.
Yeah.
And she was so keen on what's going on. She knew that it was Strauss the whole time, you know, and for her to be, yes, she's drinking. Don't dismiss her, though. She's a brilliant person, too. You know, come on.
She was the one that was
She's
most
like,
aware
wake
of it.
up, guys. Come on.
No one else was. She was the
and
only
then
one.
Oppenheimer's like, holy crap. Then he's reminiscing of all these things that, you know, he had, you know, oh, take my driver, take my car, do this, you know, and Nichols was in on it. I thought it was just him, but no, he was helping him.
Yeah, Strauss, he manipulated, he had
So
control
true,
of this
yeah.
group, and
That's
he
right.
knew how to sabotage Oppenheimer. It was awful. And even with like the smartest people in the room, like, you have these people interrogating you, bullying you, badgering you, and they're like saying all these words and phrasing them incorrectly. And even Kitty's saying like, well, I don't like how you phrased that. I don't like how you phrased it. There's no true answer or whatever to it because it's not properly phrased. And they're saying things to trap him, and it's just awful.
Yeah,
on
and
how
just because
could
they
do
say
that.
it louder and louder and louder means that, okay, they're going to get their point across. No,
because they need to stress you out so the truth comes out, but it's not always like the truth.
and it really worked a little bit. I mean, his thought process of what happened after the bomb went off, it was getting to him, you know. It was, you know, it was exhilarating every time you talk faster and louder, you know. And even when the people were cheering, you know, thanking him for what he's done, his work that night of the bomb going off, or the bombs going off, he just couldn't. He went through the speech okay, but internally he was just, I'm out of here. I gotta get out of here.
I loved seeing that throughout this film. I mean, the casting was amazing. Like, I was so surprised to see so many faces we recognize, like so many very popular people, and even like some people that we've only seen in like shows that aren't as popular. Like, I know you noticed Jarvis early on. Jarvis from Agent
Floki.
Carter, right?
Floki.
You saw Floki from Vikings.
Floki,
Of course, Matt Damon.
Right,
And
the spot guy from Suicide Squad.
yeah, I know.
Oh my gosh,
And he was good. And then, of course, Cillian Murphy, like, he was Oppenheimer. He was Scarecrow in the Dark Knight trilogy and a few other things that we've seen. But, like, he was a really good Scarecrow. And as Oppenheimer, like, I thought he was incredible in this role.
It was very good.
Very believable. And I loved learning more about him because I heard, of course, this is based on a true story, but I heard this is so historically like accurate that like I was, of course, really paying attention to the dialogue and stuff, but I really thought he played this character very well. And I just like felt his compassion, like even though, you know, being so smart, sometimes you're more removed emotionally from things, but he really did care about the consequences to a certain extent, you know, like he really didn't want people to die. But the science, like he was hired to do this job, and for the government to manipulate him, or really Strauss to manipulate him, where he was told to do all this stuff. This was his job, and then acting like this was all him from the start because he wanted power. He was greedy with that.
And it wasn't.
Like,
when you saw him leave, you know, when he saw Groves leave with the bombs and he went off, he's like, oh, let me go to Washington with you. And he's like, well, I have, you know, and he's like, no, you go behind. You know, he didn't. It was like, I think I even said it. I'm like, oh, he's leaving his babies. I mean, he made them. His brain and his team of scientists made that, and he doesn't want to, you know, he wants to make sure it's going to be okay, you know. But they shut him out because that his job was done. So for them to try to bring it into him, you know, him having a play of where it goes and what he has to do, and you know, for them to go to Japan and have those, you know, that was completely false, you know.
Yeah, and he cared about people. Like he wanted to help people, and he got in trouble, you know, associating with like communists and, you know, certain types of people. But, you know, he cared about people struggling and all that. And we got like a lot of, not even hints, but like now and again he would say something, or you could just tell how he was feeling when he had to talk about the bomb, and he brought it to our attention, like the death, destruction, end of the world, like all these like very disturbing words that really made you think like, wow, I mean, you know, we want to protect our own, we want to protect our country, and to what end, to what cost? And it sounds like in basic terms that, okay, you have this ultimate weapon, you're going to scare away all these enemies, but there's so many consequences, there's so many things that sometimes it's easier just to ignore, or when you don't have the knowledge in front of you, it's easy to be like, yeah, we won. And well, yeah, it could end up like that, you know, but
be careful.
It's really a scary idea, and here he created something that killed hundreds of thousands of people. I mean, and
civilians,
he knew it was
women, children, you know, and you know, we can even think about that now today with war. I mean, there's no, it's a wonder that you just sit back and you say, okay, we won, or they won, or whatever. Right. But so many lives,
so many innocent lives. Yeah, a lot of people are so innocent,
I mean, the stories that, I mean, I know we all have heard stuff, but you know, there's a lot of stories that you can like look up online, and I've seen a lot of things on cable a while ago.
The plane that dropped the bomb, it was called a Noah Gray.
Yeah, and I mean, there's so many things to think about. I mean, here when Oppenheimer was talking to Truman, and he's like, you know, I feel like I have blood on my hands, and how Truman just dismissed it like I was the one who made that call.
I was very surprised.
But it makes sense politically. It's the U.S. It doesn't matter. In his mind, it's the U.S. against.
That's right, yeah.
So the U.S. won World War II because I said, I gave the go.
That's right, yeah. Don't
put it on your hands. It's my hand. He's like, just tough it up. You know, and yeah, it's hard to hear it, but at the end of the day, yes, he approved
what
it.
Happened to Pearl Harbor. from Japan.
See, it's
you know?
all hard because
Yeah.
I don't think it's just one guy. Like, I do agree that Oppenheimer, like, unfortunately, yeah, you're the one who created this bomb. You knew it was going to be used for, like, you do have blood in your hands because of it. And then, yes, the president did too, because he was the one who made the call. And then I was going to say the guy, the pilot who dropped the bomb too. Like,
right.
You have it, and then
You
you
have
have
all
the
these
whole
people.
team. The whole
Yeah.
team.
you have a whole team, like,
The guy that pressed the button for the trial. I mean, everybody had a role in it.
yeah,
did,
a
yeah.
major role. So it's really hard. I mean, I don't know if there's like a perfect answer to that, but yeah, like they all created this, and that's what makes it so hard because yes, you want to defend your country, but when you're killing so many innocent people and even a small group, I mean, it's so terrible to even say that to compare it, but you're killing a whole city. I mean, wow. I mean, I can't. You see videos, you hear stories,
Then
and it's
years
just
later too. Look how much it affects them a year later.
I
Right.
know. It's
Years
like it's
later.
not just even in that instant. Then there's a lot of
No.
suffering and
Right.
the mental capacity of the
jeez,
trauma. Like
Wow.
even
after
him
the-
describing it, Oppenheimer saying a 10,000 foot
radiation. Oh,
fire plume. Just I can't, like a tower of fire. I mean, again, you see these videos and stuff, but to actually live it, holy crap, and so
and he has to live. He has to live with himself, for the rest of his life. It looks like he needs, he needed a lot of therapy, a lot of discussions,
that's right.
and because you can tell it's really affecting him.
Yeah.
oh yeah,
And you can see, like, it was years gone by, but you can really see he really aged, like mentally.
yeah.
You can just see him physically just aging and aging because just the weight is on his shoulders,
Definitely, yeah.
there's
even
so
after
much
the
talent.
fact.
I mean,
Yes.
so many things I want to say, but one really great thing I enjoyed about this movie, we had mainly dialogue. It was, I want to say, like 98% just all dialogue about science that we know certain basics, like very basic stuff,
Very
but
little.
not much,
right,
and
my
I think
gosh.
Christopher Nolan did such a great job doing these like complex, like these really difficult to understand stories when it comes to like the science behind it, but that's the main focus of it, and to make us understand it. And he did, I mean, the soundtrack, the music, the sound effects were just so good throughout this whole movie that it just like, I didn't find anything really boring, but like I understood a lot to the best of what I could understand, but I understood a lot of the movie, and the sound effects would pull you right back in, like the different vibrations, and like you're hearing these reactions of the science, and even the visuals. Like I love the visuals with that too. Like I kept thinking it was like the atom, it was particles, it was, we were seeing like these certain displays that made me think of the universe, and they even mentioned the universe and the greatest weapon or whatever of all the universe, and so having those like mixes of different visuals of particles and stuff moving around, vibrations and fusion or whatever, you have like the waves going through and you hear the brrr, like it just really pulls you into that, and you could just feel the power. Like I was always drawn to that, and they would get into that when they were talking about the science. And another thing too that was a fun mix was when they would really start breaking down certain things on how the bomb could work. The violins, like the music would get very rich, and it would escalate, and it was like an art form.
Right,
it is in a
right.
way.
It is.
So it was easier to relate to with me because I'm an artist, and there's all kinds of art out there, as we know. But to bring in the music and the visual, and to actually make it a performance in a way, discussing the science. I thought that was such a fun way to do it, to make it more interesting and keep us focused on
like
it.
the symphony, when he had more and more students in his class, and he would really, he was in his realm. He got it. He had his
The whole
right
orchestra
people
there.
around
Oh
him.
my
Yeah,
gosh. Yeah.
exactly. And he was the conductor.
Yeah. So I really thought that was beautifully done. And then we had so many moments during this too, where again, the music really pulled in your emotions a lot, and it would turn sour sometimes. And we had a lot of violin, a lot of string instruments, and a lot of times where something was a little uneasy or would turn around in a bad way, like you would hear the instruments kind of go, and it would get kind of screechy and I like out of tune a bit, and it was very unsettling. I just loved that because it just
right, because the scene was unsettling. You know,
Yeah.
there was testimony that was being said, or you know, someone was being grilled on something, and it's like, oh boy, this is not going to be good. And the music just followed it.
Yeah. Very impressive. And just to go over the cast, I was trying to write down a lot of people here, but we know Robert Oppenheimer was Cillian Murphy, of course, and a very good actor, Scarecrow. Jean was Florence Pugh, who plays Yelena from Black Widow, and she was in other things too in Marvel. But yeah, she's awesome. Louis Strauss, which we were so shocked.
I was.
Robert Downey Jr.
He was
What a role! I mean,
he was great.
we love him in a lot of things. Of course, we love him as Iron Man. That's the main role we love him as. But you know, he's excellent. So to play like this villain, and he looks so much older. I think, wow, like what a great job.
Yeah, they did a fantastic job.
Like making him look like Strauss, and that was incredible. And then Emily Blunt was Kitty.
Okay,
You know, that was his wife. Again, we love her. A Quiet Place, we really enjoy. We've seen her in a lot of other things too. And then Josh Hartnett, he was Lawrence. I liked his character too.
I did too. I did too.
It was hard because I get the whole communist thing, and I can't
he's
even
like,
imagine.
don't mix
that.
it in the school. Don't.
Yeah, that time too, because of course the war, like it was. There's no tolerance for that. So that was very sketchy, you know, with what Oppenheimer was doing. But I get it, like he was very loyal to the U.S. But yeah, that was rough. And then Gary Oldman was Harry Truman. It took me a moment. I'm like, wait a second.
That was good.
Yes.
Yeah, that was very impressive to see him. I mean, great makeup, or how to like change his look a bit to make him look like that. And then Matt Damon was the general. Groves, I think his name was. Yeah. And then we saw Jack Quaid. He was one of the scientists. And then we saw Gustav Skarsgård.
That's right.
And that was, that was
He's
Floki.
really tall.
Yeah, so
I didn't realize he was that tall.
Yeah, right. I know he
seems
is a very
tall.
like lanky tall guy. Yeah. And then we heard the name Heisenberg, which obviously, like, we love Breaking Bad. We know of Heisenberg before Breaking Bad, but we just know Walter White was Heisenberg. So, you know, he was, you know, inspired by him. Like, I don't know if I could say that, but, you know, him working for the Germans. And, yeah, I mean, like, hearing that, too. Let me just see anyone else. Papa from Stranger Things.
That's right, Papa.
And, I don't know. And then I just wrote down Chicken Scratch. I can't really read my handwriting right now. But yeah, so a lot of like great people in this movie. So it's a scary thought, but it's so true. And when Truman said something around like being ignorant or arrogant and being like, you know, they're not going to come up with what we got. We got the ultimate power now. And then you have Oppenheimer saying, they have brilliant physicists too, and if not now, they're eventually going to figure it out. I mean, that's what you do. He should know. And just to kind of dismiss it like,
and
yeah,
especially when you
happen.
had a breach, you know, from, you know, a politician afterward they found out with Strauss. I mean, anyone can breach anything to find, you know.
It's terrifying.
Yeah, they can find out anything.
And to have like, you know, wow, you made this atom bomb, this insanely like impossible bomb that can destroy so much. What's going to happen? What's the next step? Is there a next step? Like, I always think there's possibilities for like even worse down the road.
I remember when I was growing up 2 years ago on the TV, they used to show about the atom bomb going off. They used to have test sites down in Arizona.
Yeah, I mean,
scary.
I was thinking that too, because I know they had a lot of test sites, and not until like the last few decades or whatever, they've been realizing like how bad it was, and people getting exposed to radiation, and you know, it's just horrendous. And stuff like you're working with powers you don't fully understand, and you won't even know the consequences until way down the road. So it's quite terrifying. So here Einstein said something about. I'm butchering all the quotes here, but he was like, once you have that power, you got to share it with the enemy so you don't destroy the world. And I agree to a certain extent, but I'm like, sometimes when you get all war hungry and you just, I don't know, you just hate everything, you're going to take those chances and use that power anyways. And
it was like Oppenheimer said, you know, you have 2 scorpions in a jar.
That's right. Yeah.
You know, are you going, you really do have to tell the enemy, because if you don't, okay, you can kill yourself too doing it. Right, so it's true. Sure. But, you know, at what point, you know, someone might go off the deep end if you have a, you know, really bad dictatorship or whatever.
Well,
know, they can just say, well,
I don't agree with it. I don't think you should share that with the enemy, because you might get someone who doesn't give a crap and is like, oh, well, my religion will say that my group will survive this even if it does destroy the whole world, you know? So, but I get like trying to just go neutral and be like, okay, truce, because this power is going to kill everyone.
That's right.
You hope that people would be like, oh,
he's thinking scientifically, yes.
Yes, that you would be like, yeah, this is bad. You don't want to destroy the whole world, because then what do you have to rule, you know? Right. But it's just a very disturbing, uneasy thought. It's very overwhelming, and it's stuff that you hear about it, but like really think about it and the weight that carries, you know, because even the people cheering, again, they don't have the knowledge yet. They just know when the bombs were dropped that, the U.S. won, look at our power, we're number one, and they're not thinking of what actually happened.
Right, and at that moment when he's looking at them and he knows, he's like, I know what we just did.
Yeah.
I know what we just did. And he's seeing the lady like laughing, and all of a sudden she's just like, you know, crying, and she's like burned up, and, you know, he's just seeing like, no, this is, you know, I'm visualizing what's happening over there now.
Yeah.
You know what I liked about the movie where Strauss was talking to the council and it was black and white?
Yes, thank you. Yeah, I was just looking at my
notes. That was the end of it. That was the end. So that was after, you know, he was being, you know, talked to in that little conference room, that little, you know, tiny little conference room. It was all after everything. So I loved that distinction.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, that's the end. That's the end result of him, at least, of Strauss. You know?
Yeah, because I'm so happy you brought that up, because the black and white scenes were actually really neat, because there was a lot of time overlap in this. We went back and forth, and this movie started with Oppenheimer in that small room being interrogated, and then, you know, he was narrating through that scene, you know, with the past and how it all started, and then like the future, and then we had a lot of black and white, like, you know, of the future, where it was like, oh, this was in the news, like to really put us like, this is in the now, where people could remember back to be like, okay, this actually happened almost in this way, you know, in the courts or whatnot. So I just love that structure that Christopher Nolan decided to work with, because it was just beautifully smooth and easy to understand. You could tell what was the past and all that.
And I loved how his aide was really like in his face, in Strauss's face, like, no, you manipulated this whole thing.
Like, he was shocked.
I was very worried about him, actually. I thought something was going to happen to him. I mean, he's going up against a very powerful man.
Yeah.
And a bunch of people know about it. So how is he going to exit that room safely? But, you know, it worked out.
I also wanted to mention, like we talked about, that this was mainly dialogue for 3 hours, and to keep your attention span, like, this was well told.
Oh, it was.
The pacing was perfect. I, you know, thought like everything about it was just really well done, and there was like no computer generated, I mean, like, there was no real CGI. We had a couple moments with Oppenheimer when he was kind of overwhelmed with everything, like you had the twitching in the background where the background would get distorted. You know, so that was actually really good to see. And but I love how there was hardly any, you know, CGI throughout it. And again, with the audio, like, that was like my favorite of this whole movie. Like, it was so rich. And we had like sound effects of clapping that was overwhelming a lot of times. Like, it started off positive and then it was like too much. And then other times we had the stomping, like the aggressive, like almost positive, but gave you so much anxiety stomping. So, you know, you kept having like these build-ups of like, oh God.
And
like,
it's wonderful because that's what was going on in his head. You know, it was too much for him.
Yeah.
So it was, that was really excellently, you know, that was really fantastically done, you know?
Yeah. So Christopher Nolan, movies that we've seen, the Dark Knight trilogy, Interstellar, Inception, Dunkirk, Man of Steel. I might have missed something, but
Dunkirk too. He's done.
yeah. So really good films. I think he's an amazing director.
Yeah,
he has such talent.
Matt Damon before.
Sure does,
Matt
yes.
Damon is just so great.
I love him too.
Yes,
Yeah, I know.
yes.
Yeah, there's so many great people in this movie.
That's right.
Yeah, and then Interstellar, like Christopher Nolan, like movie. That's like another favorite of mine because that was awesome,
Yes.
and that was a complex story too,
It
where
was.
you're talking about the science that like you get the very basic part of it, but he makes it easy enough to understand
Yeah.
That's right.
in
Yeah.
his own.
Yeah.
He's really good at
Dumb it down.
storytelling.
That's right.
Yeah.
So I couldn't do that, of course. But no, he's very impressive. I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say. I know you guys probably can fill us in on a lot of stuff we didn't talk about, but anything else you'd like to add?
No, and I love the
something like
actor
that.
that played Robbie.
I liked him too.
I
Is
really,
it Robbie?
because he
Yeah.
was really
He's good.
like as a friend of Oppenheimer's, he was a true friend.
Yeah.
he's
Like I felt
definitely
bad about what Teller did, but I was really happy that Robbie was there through thick
That
and
was
thin,
good. Yeah, he
right
was
down
great,
to making
yeah.
sure he eats.
I think that's
Hey,
so
we're
good.
both
He
two
was really
Jewish
a good
guys
friend.
from
Yes.
New York,
And
let's
here,
get
like,
together.
he started off really cocky, and he goes into that meeting, and he's like, he's talking, to the buddy next to him, and he's like, oh, don't worry, I speak really good English, so I'll explain things to you. And just to see Oppenheimer learn freaking Dutch in 6 weeks, and he does it in Dutch, and he's the one he doesn't understand. Like that was just so funny.
Yeah, and they were
That's
actually
it.
giggling at him before he even started. And he's
Yeah.
like, oh yeah,
That's good,
well
yeah.
watch this.
I know, because he works differently, and he's putting himself in the zone to
Genius.
focus, and
That's right.
so I mean to
That's
do
good.
something so mind blowing is just so
Oh, that's
cool. I
funny,
mean,
yes.
it is true
That's good.
talent. I mean, to have that kind of intelligence. I mean,
Definitely.
I don't know people who do that. I mean, like that's just
Oh,
way beyond
boy.
normal
That's
intelligence.
for
So it's
sure.
just very, have people like that, and you hope that they're very good, caring people, because that could be so dangerous.
that's
So he's a very again. Oppenheimer seemed like a real caring guy.
Yes,
Like he did, you won't say questionable things, making the bomb, I mean, but, he did care, and he did even, talk about Trinity. He kept, bringing death into it all the time. So he was,
Mindful.
he was very mindful about that, and
Definitely.
he did care about that, and he wanted to call, and he was trying to stay professional the whole time. But you could tell that he was so uneasy about the death that it would bring.
That's
But he
right.
knew he was doing his job, so he was trying to just focus
Right.
on that. So, pretty incredible
Oh,
story.
it sure was.
Yeah, and he thought of it as, Robbie didn't want to do it at first, but he brought it to him as, okay, well, it's either us do it to the Nazis at the time before Hitler died, or the Nazis are going to do it to us. So that's
Isn't that
what
crazy
we're weighing
having
on.
this
Yeah,
race?
yeah,
So
yes.
Robbie's like, okay,
Pressure's on. I mean,
Right.
I get them making the bomb, and that's what's so terrifying, because you have other countries,
It's a race.
enemies that are making this ultimate bomb that they're going to use on you. And you got to do it first before they can, because you have to have the bigger power. And then what do you do with that power once you have it? And will they learn it? And there's just so many cons, and I don't know what's right, but it does sound like, you want to have the better power, of course, so you can defend yourself. It's just scary. The whole thing is just terrifying.
Definitely
So
scary.
please discuss below. I want to see what you guys have to say. Very curious. And thank you guys so
Yes,
much for
thank you.
watching. Thank you for your patience,
Thumbs up.
because we've been sick, but we're doing a lot better now.
Sure.
So we hope you guys
We
are
got
doing well
through it.
too. Happy New Year again.
Yes, Happy New
and we'll
Year.
see you very
Happy
soon,
New
as
Year.
always.
Happy New Year.
Bye, guys.
Bye.